Thumb. 1980. The city nitrogen monoxide 1 may enter. Imagine a city once teeming with life. Golden beaches, luxury hotels, and bustling streets filled with tourists from all over the world. Varosha was once the crown jewel of Cyprus, a paradise on earth. In the 1970s, it was one of the most popular holiday destinations in the Mediterranean, attracting the rich and famous with its promise of sun, sand, and glamour. But by 1980, Varosha was no more than a shadow of its former self, abandoned, forgotten, and locked away behind barbed wire. How could such a vibrant city suddenly vanish? What happened to the people who once filled its streets? And why has no one been able to enter it for decades? The story of Varosha is a dark and haunting mystery that still remains unsolved today. At the heart of it lies a question. Why did Varosha fall from paradise to desolation? In this video, we're diving deep into the mystery of Varosha, exploring its rise to fame, its abrupt fall, and the secrets that still surround this forbidden city. We'll uncover the chilling truth behind the war that left it in ruins, the lives of those who once called it home, and the dark forces that sealed its fate. But even as the story unfolds, we'll be left wondering what's truly behind the abandonment of Varosha, and why has it been kept out of reach for so long? Stay tuned as we uncover the secrets of Varosha. But before we dive deeper into its story, let's take a moment to think, what would you do if you were suddenly forced to leave everything behind? Leaving behind a city, your home, your memories, forever. Imagine the confusion, the fear, and the uncertainty. If you're intrigued by the mystery of Varosha so far, leave a comment below and let us know what you think happened to this once thriving city. Was it just a casualty of war? Or is there something darker behind its sudden disappearance? Don't forget to give this video a like if you're enjoying the story, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the rest of this chilling investigation. In 1974, Cyprus found itself at the heart of a conflict that would alter the course of its history and reshape the fate of its cities, particularly Varosha. The island, which had once been a symbol of Mediterranean beauty and tranquility, became a battlefield for competing interests, caught between the aspirations of Greece and Turkey. What happened next was a series of events that no one could have foreseen, events that would lead to the downfall of Varosha, transforming it from a bustling resort to a forbidden ghost town. The Turkish invasion of Cyprus in 1974 marked a turning point. The conflict was triggered by a Greek-backed coup aimed at uniting Cyprus with Greece, which was opposed by Turkey. In response to the coup, Turkey launched a military operation, leading to the occupation of the northern part of Cyprus. What followed was the division of the island, with a clear line separating the Greek Cypriot south and the Turkish Cypriot north. The city of Varosha, once an iconic part of the island's tourism industry, lay right in the middle of this geopolitical upheaval. As the Turkish forces advanced, Varosha, located on the eastern coast, became an area of immediate concern. The residents of Varosha, mostly Greek Cypriots, were forced to flee in the face of advancing military operations. What followed was a mass exodus, leaving behind not just homes and businesses, but a city frozen in time. The residents believed they would return once the conflict was resolved, but little did they know that they would never be allowed back in. The once thriving resort town, which had catered to the likes of movie stars, wealthy tourists, and diplomats, was suddenly closed off. Barbed wire and military checkpoints surrounded Varosha, and the city was completely sealed off by the Turkish military. The few who remained behind in the city's outskirts were forced to abandon their homes, leaving behind belongings, cars, and even pets. The eerie emptiness of Varosha grew over the years as nature slowly crept back into the city's core. What was most chilling about this sudden disappearance was that Varosha wasn't simply abandoned, it was locked away. No one was allowed to enter. The streets, which once hummed with life, were now deserted. The windows of luxury hotels stood dark, and the golden beaches remained untouched. The city that had once symbolized the glamour and allure of Cyprus was now a forbidden place, shrouded in mystery. The division of Cyprus and the abandonment of Varosha left behind unanswered questions. Why was Varosha left to rot when many believed it could have been rebuilt? Why did the international community remain largely silent, as this city, a symbol of modernity and prosperity, was erased from the map? The closure of Varosha wasn't just a physical barrier. It represented the separation of a nation and the loss of its identity. Varosha's story is not just one of war, it is a story of the quiet erasure of a place that was once central to the island's cultural and economic life. The fate of Varosha serves as a poignant reminder of the devastating consequences of political strife. and the price paid by innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. But the mystery deepens with secrets lie within the city's walls. And why has the world allowed Varosha to be forgotten? The story is far from over. Imagine the chaos and confusion that must have gripped the people of Varosha in the final days before the city was abandoned. For years, Varosha had been a thriving haven for tourists and locals alike. Its luxurious hotels, beautiful beaches, and vibrant nightlife attracted visitors from all corners of the globe. But in the summer of 1974, everything changed in an instant. As the Turkish invasion of Cyprus drew closer, panic spread through the streets of Varosha. It was clear that the city, once known for its wealth and glamour, was now in the path of a violent military conflict. For the people living in the city, this wasn't just a war. They were facing the very real possibility that their lives would be torn apart. The first whispers of danger came with the sounds of distant explosions and the sight of military forces approaching. People watched in horror as the conflict moved closer, with the inevitable closure of the city looming larger each day. At first, many people hoped for the best. Surely, this conflict would be short-lived, they thought. Surely, they would return to their homes once peace was restored. But the reality quickly set in. The invasion was no temporary setback. And Varosha was becoming a target in the middle of a geopolitical struggle. As the Turkish military advanced, the residents of Varosha, mostly Greek Cypriots, were ordered to leave immediately. The evacuation was swift and chaotic. And as the residents fled, they left behind their homes, businesses, and lives. In those final moments, the city began to empty out. Families grabbed what they could, and some even left beloved pets behind. The sounds of military jeeps and trucks filled the streets as the last few residents hurriedly left, never knowing that they would never return to their homes. The streets, once lined with tourists and locals enjoying the sun, became eerily quiet. Shops were left with open cash registers, hotels with beds untouched, and restaurants with half-eaten meals still on the tables. Varosha was frozen in time. The chaos and fear of those final moments left a deep scar in the city. The Turkish military arrived shortly afterward, and Varosha was sealed off from the rest of the world. The once bustling tourist hub was now a ghost town. Its gates closed, its streets deserted. And as the years went by, the hopes of those who fled faded into the distance. They would never be allowed to return. The city, now under the control of the Turkish military, remained off limits to everyone. Over time, nature began to reclaim the space. Trees grew in the middle of the streets, weeds overtook the once pristine sidewalks, and the buildings began to deteriorate. Yet, despite the passage of time, the memory of Varosha remained alive in the hearts of those who had lived there. The lost paradise, now locked away behind fences and barbed wire, became a symbol of the personal cost of war, a city whose soul had been stolen, leaving only empty streets and abandoned dreams. What was it like for the residents of Varosha, knowing that they could never return to their homes, their families, and the life they had built? What happened to their belongings left behind? And why has the world allowed such an extraordinary place to fall into oblivion? The mystery deepens as we look at what happened next. Varosha's fate was sealed in 1974, and for over 4 decades, the world has been kept out, unable to witness the eerie remains of this once thriving city. What is perhaps the most chilling aspect of Varosha's disappearance is the fact that it was not simply abandoned, it was locked away. It became a forbidden place, sealed off by the Turkish military and left to decay, almost as if its existence were being erased from the map. The city's isolation is not just physical, it has become symbolic of a deeper mystery. What really happened to Varosha after its inhabitants fled? What lies within its streets, its homes, its hotels? Since 1974, no one has been allowed to enter Varosha. This is not a typical abandoned city where urban explorers roam freely through dilapidated buildings. No, Varosha has remained off limits, with a harsh military presence keeping the world at bay. The city's gates remain closed, and anyone attempting to approach is turned away. The stark contrast between what Varosha was and what it is today is haunting. In its prime, Varosha was a destination for the rich and famous. Its luxury hotels hosted international celebrities, its beaches were pristine, and its streets were filled with the laughter of tourists. But when the Turkish military seized control of the area, they did more than just occupy a city. They turned it into a forbidden zone, a place no one could access, not even the people who once called it home. For years, Varosha has stood as a silent testament to a time long gone. Its once beautiful buildings remain frozen in time, with broken windows, rusting cars, and deserted streets. The luxury hotels, once bustling with life, are now hollowed-out structures overtaken by nature. The beaches, once golden and inviting, are now empty, with the waves crashing against the shores of a deserted paradise. The eerie silence that surrounds Varosha is unsettling. The city is locked away in a state of arrested decay, its future uncertain. Yet, despite being sealed off, the stories and mysteries of Varosha continue to captivate the imagination. What secrets are hidden behind those iron gates? What treasures or memories lie within the abandoned homes and businesses? The world may never know. There are those who believe that Varosha's abandonment is not merely a result of political conflict, but rather a part of a larger, more complex conspiracy. Some claim that the city was left to rot intentionally as a means of erasing its history and its inhabitants. Others argue that there are hidden treasures within the city, perhaps valuable artifacts or secrets that powerful people do not want uncovered. Whatever the truth may be, Varosha remains a city of mystery and intrigue. The fact that it is off-limits only adds to its allure. The mystery deepens with each passing year as the world waits for the day when, if ever, the gates of Varosha will open and the secrets of this forgotten city are finally revealed. Until then, it remains a forbidden place, a ghost city trapped between time and history. Varosha's haunting silence is not just the absence of people, it's the stillness of a city frozen in time. As the years passed, nature began to take over, slowly creeping through cracks and broken windows, overtaking the once bustling streets. The luxury hotels that once hosted international guests now stand as decaying skeletons of what they once were. Their grand facades, weathered and worn, empty swimming pools, once filled with laughter, are now filled with stagnant water. The echoes of their former use lost to time, but it's not just the buildings that remain untouched. It's the secrets that lie within the city's ruins, the abandoned homes and businesses still hold. Remnants of the people who once lived and worked there. Personal belongings are scattered across floors, furniture left in place as if someone had just stepped away. The beds are unmade, books left open, and everyday items abandoned in haste. There's a peculiar sense of eeriness in these remnants, like the city's soul has been preserved in the artifacts that remain behind. But as much as Varosha speaks to us through these fragments, it remains a mystery. What happened to the people who left all of this behind? Why were they forced to leave so quickly, leaving their lives in the city to deteriorate? Was there something more sinister behind the sudden evacuation? The streets of Varosha, now overgrown with vegetation, present a surreal contrast to the city's once glamorous reputation. The shops that once lined the main roads are now crumbling, with broken glass and rusted metal doors hanging loosely on their hinges. The beach, once a paradise, is now left untouched, the sand shifting, with the winds no longer walked upon by tourists or locals. And yet, despite the decay and the absence of life, the city is strangely beautiful in its abandonment. But it's not just the physical decay of the city that captivates, it's the unanswered questions that linger. What exactly happened during the final days of Varosha? Why was it left to rot, while other parts of Cyprus were rebuilt and restored? Some have speculated that there is a deeper, more disturbing reason behind the cities. Abandonment, one that involves powerful forces working to conceal something within Varosha's walls. Could there be hidden treasures or secrets locked away, left undiscovered for decades? In 1974, as the city emptied out, the events surrounding the evacuation were shrouded in confusion. Families were given no time to prepare, no answers to the uncertainty that loomed. The military cordon that sealed Varosha off was swift and unforgiving, and the city became a place where no one could enter. No one could leave. While the Turkish forces assumed control, international attention faded, and the world moved on. But Varosha remained behind, closed off, and lost to history. The mystery of Varosha's secrets remains unresolved, leaving us with only speculations and theories. What lies behind the iron gates that still guard the city? Are there hidden parts of the city, concealed from view, that hold clues to its past? Or is Varosha a symbol of something darker, a place intentionally forgotten by the world? The unanswered questions only add to the allure, and the idea that this once thriving city may hold keys to untold mysteries keeps drawing us back. hoping that one day the secrets of Varosha will be revealed. Varosha's abandonment has sparked numerous theories, some grounded in political reality, others veering into the realm of the supernatural. What really happened to this once thriving city? Was it simply a casualty of the Turkish invasion of Cyprus? Or is there a much darker story that has been hidden from the world for decades? The official narrative tells us that Varosha was abandoned during the Turkish invasion of Cyprus in 1974. The Greek Cypriots were forced to flee as the Turkish military advanced, and the city was sealed off to prevent further conflict. However, many questions remain unanswered. Was this swift evacuation truly the only reason behind Varosha's disappearance? Some believe there was more to the story, and that the official explanation is not the full truth. One of the more chilling theories suggests that Varosha was abandoned not just due to the Turkish invasion, but because there were things hidden within the city that someone wanted to keep secret. Could there have been a deeper political or military agenda behind the city's isolation? After all, Varosha was not just a bustling city, it was a symbol of wealth, luxury, and prosperity. And during times of conflict, such symbols often become targets for those with hidden motives. Could Varosha have been abandoned to prevent some kind of revelation? Another popular theory revolves around the idea that Varosha was a casualty of a larger geopolitical game. The island of Cyprus was divided into Greek and Turkish zones, and Varosha became part of the Turkish-occupied northern part of the island. Some suggest that the city was strategically abandoned to create a buffer zone between the two sides, with the hopes of diminishing tensions and preventing further violence. If this was the case, then Varosha's abandonment was not a simple act of war. It was part of a larger, calculated effort to reshape the future of Cyprus itself. But beyond political theories, there are those who believe that Varosha's abandonment might be tied to something more supernatural. The idea of a city left to decay, sealed off from the rest of the world, has led to speculation about curses, ghosts, and dark forces. Could Varosha be haunted? Theories abound that the city's once glamorous hotels and resorts are now the resting places for the spirits of those who lived and died in Varosha. Locals who once lived near the city have reported strange occurrences, lights flickering in the distance, eerie sounds drifting through the abandoned streets, and a sense of coldness that seems to permeate the area. Is this simply superstition, or is there something darker at play? One of the more chilling stories involves reports of strange sightings in the area around Varosha. People who have ventured close to the city's outskirts have claimed to see shadowy figures moving through the ruins. Some believed these are the restless souls of those who were forced to leave their homes behind. Others argue that the abandonment itself created an atmosphere ripe for paranormal activity, a place where energy lingers and refuses to move on. While there is no conclusive evidence to prove any of these theories, the fact remains that Varosha remains an enigma. Why was it sealed off, and why has no one been allowed to enter for so many years? Is there a hidden agenda behind its abandonment, or is the mystery of Varosha simply the result of a tragic conflict? One thing is certain: the city's dark story is far from over, and the fear of what may still be hidden behind its gates continues to captivate and haunt those who wonder what really happened to this forbidden place. Varosha, like many places abandoned under mysterious circumstances, has become the subject of countless urban legends and superstitions. These tales have only gained strength over the years, fueled by the eerie silence that surrounds the city and the forbidden nature of its existence. To some, Varosha represents more than just a city that was left behind. It is a place marked by a dark curse that continues to linger in the air. The very fact that the city was sealed off so suddenly has contributed to the belief that there was something more sinister at play. What could have been so dangerous, so forbidden, that the city was closed off from the world? Over the years, rumors have flourished, suggesting that the Turkish military not only wanted to take control of the land, but that Varosha held a secret, something that needed to be hidden away for good. One of the most persistent legends surrounding Varosha is the idea that the city's abandonment was the result of an ancient curse. According to some, the land that Varosha was built upon was once sacred ground, and by developing it into a luxury tourist destination, the residents unknowingly angered the spirits that once inhabited the area. The curse, it is believed, was unleashed when the city became a symbol of excess and greed, attracting the wrath of forces beyond human comprehension. As the legend goes, the curse was not only responsible for the city's sudden fall from grace, but also for the misery that followed. Many locals claim that the people who were forced to leave Varosha were doomed to suffer misfortune in their lives. Some say that the residents who fled have been plagued by financial ruin, illness, or even death. Could there be any truth to this? Were the lives of the evacuees affected by something far beyond their control? The idea that Varosha's downfall was not just political, but supernatural, has been passed down through generations. Another popular superstition about Varosha is that the city is haunted. People who have ventured too close to the forbidden area report strange occurrences, shadowy figures in the windows of long-abandoned hotels, lights flickering in the distance, and a strange feeling of being watched. The few who have dared to approach the city's gates say they hear whispers in the wind, as if the spirits of the past are trying to communicate with the living. Some claim to have seen figures walking through the ruins, dressed in the clothes of a bygone era, as if the people of Varosha have never truly left. Others say that the city's streets are filled with the echoes of laughter, music, and voices, remnants of the life that once existed there. Whether these are the result of overactive imaginations or real paranormal activity is still up for debate. But the fact that Varosha remains off-limits only fuels these ghost stories. The ghost stories of Varosha are not limited to shadowy figures and strange noises. There are also tales of the land itself being cursed. Some locals believe that anyone who steps foot on the land will suffer the same fate as those who once lived in the city, forever trapped in a cycle of misfortune. It is said that the ghosts of Varosha will not rest until the city is once again inhabited, and the curse that hangs over the area is lifted. These superstitions and urban legends about Varosha have only grown stronger over time as the city continues to decay behind its iron gates. With every passing year, the mystery surrounding Varosha deepens, and the stories about its curse and haunting nature continue to captivate the imaginations of those who hear them, whether the stories are based in truth or mere folklore. They add an eerie layer to the already unsettling story of Varosha City that exists as a forbidden place, sealed off from the world, and shrouded in mystery and myth. There's a chilling truth about abandoned cities. They leave behind more than just empty streets and decaying buildings. Cities like Varosha, left in a state of frozen time, hold a unique psychological weight, both for the people who once called them home and for those who are drawn to their mysteries. The psychological impact of an abandoned city like Varosha is profound, leaving a lasting impression on the human mind. For those who were forced to flee Varosha in 1974, the trauma of abandonment cannot be overstated. Imagine being told to leave everything behind, your home, your business, your memories, without any hope of returning. The city, once a vibrant symbol of success and modernity, was suddenly a place of danger and fear. The psychological toll on the evacuees was immense. Families were torn apart, and lives were abruptly changed forever. What's more disturbing is the idea that many of these people may never have fully understood why they were forced to leave or what would happen to their beloved city. The feeling of loss was not just about material possessions, but also about identity. Varosha was not just a place, it was a part of people's lives, a part of who they were. The sudden severing of this connection left a void in the lives of many of us. The trauma of being uprooted from a city that had once provided them with stability, prosperity, and pride created a deep sense of displacement and confusion. Some reported ongoing feelings of loss and helplessness, as though they had been robbed of a part of their soul. The memories of Varoshit's golden beaches, luxurious hotels, and lively streets were now overshadowed by the reality of abandonment and the unknown. But the psychological effects weren't just felt by the event. Varosha's abandonment has also had a profound effect on the surrounding areas. The city's sudden disappearance cast a long shadow over Cyprus, a reminder of the political instability and the devastating impact of war. People who lived near Varosha or knew its residents have reported feelings of unease, as though the city's curse was spreading beyond its borders. The psychological toll on the people who lived through this period has been long-lasting, with many still haunted by the city's fall. Even for those who never lived in Varosha, there is a strange attraction to the city. For decades, Varosha has been a place of forbidden allure, a city that no one can enter, but everyone wants to know about. The psychological pull of the unknown is powerful, and Varosha, with its deserted streets and crumbling buildings, holds a unique fascination. For some, it's the mystery of what happened to the city and its people. For others, it's the eerie feeling that something supernatural may be at work. Whatever the reason, Varosha has become an object of psychological intrigue for many around the world. The city's abandonment also raises questions about how humans interact with spaces and places. When a city is left behind, it becomes more than just a location, it becomes a symbol of loss, of time, standing still, and of the fragility of human existence. The physical decay of Varosha mirrors the emotional decay that comes with the realization that some places, no matter how beautiful or prosperous, are destined to be forgotten. For those who visit Varosha, even for those who simply read about it, the city represents a haunting reminder of the impermanence of human achievements and the unpredictable nature of history. In a sense, Varosha has become a psychological mirror, reflecting the fears, hopes, and mysteries that people grapple with when faced with the unknown. It's not just a place that has been abandoned by its people. It's a place that has been abandoned by time itself. And in that abandonment, it continues to exert a strange influence on those who are drawn to its dark story. Over the years, the abandoned city of Varosha has become a symbol of lost opportunity, a haunting reminder of what was once a thriving paradise. But as time has passed, hope has begun to emerge for those who once lived there and for the international community that has watched from afar. Can Varosha be returned to its former glory, or will it remain a forgotten relic of the past? The idea of reopening Varosha has been a contentious and politically charged issue since its abandonment. After the Turkish invasion in 1974, the city became part of the Turkish-occupied northern region of Cyprus, and it remains sealed off from the world. But overwhelming efforts have been made to reopen Varosha, both by its former residents and by political figures who see the potential for economic revival. The question remains, however, what would it take to undo the damage of decades of neglect? And who has the power to bring Varosha back? One of the most prominent movements to reopen Varosha has come from the Greek Cypriots who once called the city home. For years, they have held out hope that one day they would be able to return to their homes, reclaim their properties, and rebuild their lives. But the political obstacles to reopening the city are immense. The Turkish government, which controls the northern part of Cyprus, has been hesitant to allow Greek Cypriots back into the city, citing security concerns and the ongoing division of the island. As a result, the people who once lived in Varosha have been left in a limbo, unable to return and unsure of whether they will ever be allowed to. In recent years, however, there has been a shift in the political landscape. The Cyprus reunification talks have brought renewed attention to the issue of Varosha. In 2019, the Turkish Cypriot authorities opened part of the city to visitors for the first time in decades, allowing a small section of the city to be explored by the public. While this move was seen by some as a step toward reopening, it was met with resistance from the Greek Cypriot community and the international community, who viewed it as a politically motivated gesture rather than a genuine effort to return the city to its former residents. Despite the challenges, the hope of returning to Varosha remains strong among the displaced people. Many of the thought of stepping back into the city that once held their memories, their homes, and their livelihoods is a powerful symbol of resilience and defiance. But there are those who fear that reopening the city could cause further division, reigniting tensions between the Greek and Turkish communities. The political ramifications of such a move are profound, and there are many who believe that Varosha can only be fully restored once the broader issue of Cyprus reunification is addressed. Beyond the political struggle, there are also significant practical challenges to reopening Varosha. The city has been left to decay for decades, and much of the infrastructure has fallen into ruin. The buildings, once symbols of luxury and wealth, are now in a state of disrepair, and the cost of restoring them to their former state would be astronomical. Environmental factors have also taken a toll on the city. Over the years, the city has been overtaken by nature, with trees and vines growing through the cracks in the buildings. The once pristine beaches have been washed away by the tides, and the city's once grand hotels are now hollowed-out shells. Despite these challenges, the dream of reopening Varosha remains alive. For many, it is more than just the restoration of a city, it is the restoration of a piece of their past, their history, and their identity. As the debate continues, the question remains, will Varosha ever be returned to its former glory, or is it doomed to remain a forbidden city, locked away and forgotten by time? As the years pass, the mystery of Varosha continues to captivate the world. The city that was once a bustling paradise now stands abandoned and locked away, its gates sealed shut by the forces of history and politics. Yet, despite the passage of time and the uncertainty surrounding its future, the question remains, what will become of Varosha? Is its story truly over, Or is this only the beginning of a new chapter? The city's fate is far from settled, and in recent years, there have been renewed efforts to address its future. While the political tensions between the Greek and Turkish Cypriots remain a significant barrier, there are those who continue to push for Varosha as a restoration. Could it one day be reopened and revived? Or will it forever remain a symbol of the tragic division that has plagued Cyprus for decades? For the people who once called Varosha home, the dream of returning to the city remains a powerful force. Many of the former residents still live with the hope that they will one day be allowed to reclaim their properties and rebuild their lives. The emotional and psychological toll of their displacement is profound, and for many, the idea of returning to Varosha is not just about the physical restoration of their homes, but about reclaiming a piece of their past and their identity. The political landscape of Cyprus will ultimately determine Varosha's future. The reunification talks between the Greek and Turkish Cypriots continue to move slowly, with no clear resolution in sight. However, as the world changes and new generations emerge, there may be a shift in how the situation is approached. There is growing recognition that the division of Cyprus is an untenable situation, and that a lasting peace may only be possible if both sides are willing to reconcile and move forward together. As Varosha's story continues to unfold, its future remains uncertain. But the city's fate is not just a matter of politics, it is a matter of memory, identity, and justice. The people who once lived in Varosha have a right to return to their homes, to reclaim what was taken from them, and to rebuild their lives. Whether or not that happens will depend on the decisions made by both the people of Cyprus and the international community. In the meantime, Varosha remains a symbol of both loss and hope, a city that has been abandoned, yet never forgotten. As the world watches and waits, the question of Varosha's future remains unanswered, its gates still closed, its secrets still hidden. Will the city ever be reborn, or will it remain a forgotten relic of a lost era? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The story of Varosha is far from over. If you've made it this far, thank you for taking the time to dive deep into the haunting story of Varosha. Now, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think really happened to this once thriving city? Do you believe the mysteries of Varosha will ever be solved, or will it remain a forbidden city forever? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this exploration, and subscribe to the channel for more gripping stories like this one. If you're as fascinated by forgotten cities and lost histories as we are, be sure to check out the next video that's popping up on your screen now. You won't want to miss it.